I don't think whoever put this graph on Reform's social media pages actually thought about how bad it looks for Reform. 30 or 40 years ago, a graph of this kind of proportion would have been an amazing result for Reform. Because 30 or 40 years ago, there were basically two parties, and whichever got more votes in a general election would usually get the most seats and would be able to go on and form a government on their own. But we no longer live in a two-party system. We now live in a five-party system in England and a six-party system in Scotland and Wales. And 28% of the vote is 5% less than the smallest percentage that a majority government has ever received in a general election. Actually, that was Labour in the last general election, who got 33% of the vote and a majority of the seats. 28% is not going to cut it. And one of the reasons that 28% is not going to cut it is because of the way that the 72% of people who don't want to vote Reform feel about Reform. People are much more likely to vote tactically against Reform than they are to vote tactically against other parties like the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, the Scottish National Party, even the Conservative Party. All the polling shows that there is a strong and deep opposition to Reform UK, which isn't shown in this kind of statistic. With no tactical voting, if there was a uniform spread across the country, 28% would get Reform every single seat in England, Scotland and Wales at the next general election. But of course, general elections don't work like that. There isn't a uniform spread. And if people who oppose Reform, the 25%, for example, who currently support the Liberal Democrats and the Greens combined, if those people vote tactically to gang up on Reform, Reform could end up with fewer seats than anyone else. Reform have another problem, which is that they don't have many options to form coalition governments. They could form a coalition with the Tories in theory because they're both from the right of the political spectrum, but that would be a suicide note by the Conservative Party. It would be them effectively admitting that they can no longer govern on their own or even the majority partner in a coalition. So the Tories have got a very strong incentive not to do that. Labour, on the other hand, have many options for a coalition government. They could partner with the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, the Scottish National Party, Plaid Cymru, and several parties from Northern Ireland. So this is not a great result for Reform. 28% is not going to get them a huge majority in Parliament. And if they're going to go for a coalition, they'd better start making friends pretty quickly. Those of us who oppose the racism and far-right rhetoric of Reform need to start working now to keep them out of Parliament. I'm rebuilding my TikTok page at the moment, so drop me a follow if you want to join the fight against Reform. The more we talk to each other, the more we collaborate, the more tactical we are now, the better our chances of keeping Nigel Farage away from Downing Street and keeping our country away from disaster.